Look at this lineup. This isn't just a parade, it is a warning to anyone watching around the globe. You are seeing the elephant walk, 8 engines on every single plane, screaming in unison. This is the B-52 Stratofortress. They call it the Buff. It has been flying since your grandfather was young, and it will likely still be flying when your grandchildren are born. While stealth bombers get all the headlines, this ancient giant is still the one doing the heavy lifting. Why does the Air Force refuse to let it die? Why are we still investing billions into a frame designed in the 1950s? Today, we are going to find out. We are going deep into the history, the weapons, and the secrets of the longest-serving bomber in history. To understand the B-52, you have to understand how old it really is. The first one flew in 1952. Think about that. That is before the internet, before the moon landing, before color television was common. When this plane was designed, engineers were using slide rules and drafting tables. There were no computers to help with aerodynamics. And yet, they built a machine so perfect, so robust, that it refuses to be replaced. It was built to carry nuclear weapons to the Soviet Union during the Cold War. It was designed to fly high and fast, but over the decades, its mission changed. It went from high altitude to low-level penetration. It survived Vietnam, Desert Storm, Afghanistan, and Iraq. Look at the skin of the aircraft. It wrinkles. On the ground, the fuselage actually ripples because the skin is designed to be flexible. When it takes off and the wings generate lift, those wrinkles smooth out. It is a living, breathing machine. Now, let's talk about the most iconic feature. The engines. Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way to 8. 8 Pratt & Whitney TF-33 turbofans. You can always tell when a B-52 is taking off because of the black smoke. It leaves a trail of soot that looks like an old locomotive. Modern planes run clean, but the Buff, it runs dirty. That smoke is the signature of raw, unrefined power from the 1960s. Why 8 engines? Because back in the 50s, jet engines weren't powerful enough or reliable enough. If you lost an engine on a normal plane, it was an emergency. If you lose an engine on a B-52, you still have 7 left. You can literally lose half your engines and still fly home. That is the definition of redundancy. The wingspan is massive, 185 feet. But here is the crazy part. The wings are so long and flexible that at the tips they can flap up and down by over 30 feet during flight. If you see them bouncing in turbulence, do not panic. They are designed to. But the weirdest feature is the landing gear. Look closely at the wheels. The B-52 has a secret superpower called the crab walk. Imagine trying to land this massive beast in a strong crosswind. On a normal plane, you have to dip the wing and use the rudder. But with massive wings like these, you can't dip them too close to the ground. So engineers came up with a solution. All four main landing gear struts can rotate up to 20 degrees. This means the B-52 can fly sideways, pointed into the wind, but the wheels are pointed straight down the runway. It looks like a giant crab scuttling across the concrete. It defies physics, and it looks absolutely wrong, but it works perfectly. Let's get to the business end. Why do we keep this plane? Because of what it can carry. The B-52 is a dump truck for explosives. It can carry 70,000 pounds of ordnance. That is 35 tons of hate. It carries gravity bombs, cluster bombs, naval mines, and precision-guided cruise missiles. Look at the crew loading these weapons. It is a manual process, heavy steel meeting heavy machinery. The Buff can launch nuclear cruise missiles from hundreds of miles away, keeping the crew safe. Or it can fly directly over a target and drop a carpet of unguided bombs that changes the geography of the battlefield. In the Gulf War, B-52s flew from the United States, struck targets in Iraq, and flew back home, a 35-hour non-stop mission. They delivered the first strikes of the war before most people even knew it had started. Speaking of 35-hour missions, how is that even possible? This is the answer: aerial refueling. Watch the precision here. You have a massive bomber and a massive tanker flying in formation at hundreds of miles per hour. The B-52 pilots have to fly this heavy, sluggish plane within a few feet of the tanker. Because of mid-air refueling, the B-52 has unlimited range. It doesn't need to land to refuel. It only needs to land when the crew runs out of coffee or snacks. It allows the U.S. Air Force to project power anywhere on Earth within hours. If you are a dictator on the other side of the world, seeing a B-52 on radar is the ultimate bad day. Now, let's go back to those incredible shots of the elephant walk. Why do they do this? Is it just for a cool photo? No. This is a stress test. An elephant walk proves that the maintenance crews can generate sorties. Getting one B-52 into the air is hard work. It takes hours of maintenance for every hour of flight. Getting 20 or 30 of them to start their engines at the same time and taxi to the runway is a logistical miracle. It shows the enemy that we are not just talking about one plane. We are talking about a swarm of heavy bombers. What is it like inside? Cramped, loud, hot. Unlike modern jets with digital screens and comfortable seats, the B-52 cockpit is a time capsule. It is filled with analog dials, switches, and steam gauges. There are usually 5 crew members: the pilot, co-pilot, weapons officer, navigator, and electronic warfare officer. They sit in this noisy metal tube for 20, sometimes 30 hours. There is no room to walk around. There are barely any amenities. It smells like hydraulic fluid, jet fuel, and sweat. It takes a special breed of aviator to love this plane. But ask any B-52 pilot, and they will tell you, There is nothing else they would rather fly. So when will it retire? Not anytime soon. The Air Force is currently upgrading the B-52 again. They are replacing those smoking engines with new, efficient Rolls-Royce engines. They are upgrading the radar. They are upgrading the communications. The plan is to keep the B-52 flying until the 2050s. That means this aircraft will likely become the first machine in human history to be in active military service for 100 years. Think about that. A plane designed with pencil and paper, fighting alongside AI drones and hypersonic missiles. It is the grandfather of the sky, and it is not ready for the retirement home yet. The B-52 Stratofortress. Ugly? Maybe. Old? Definitely. But effective? Absolutely. As long as there are threats to freedom, the buff will be there, leaving trails of black smoke and a legacy of overwhelming power. Thanks for watching this deep dive into aviation history. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and tell me in the comments, do you think the B-52 will actually make it to 100 years old? I will see you in the next one.